What's going on, everybody? This is John J Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the FCS Dynasty here on NCAA 06, featuring that next mod, man, version 9, looking real clean, as we are going into week 8 of this FCS Dynasty, midway through the second season of this series, as we got 8 games on tap, so you are going to love these games out here today. So I need you guys to do me a huge favor, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button if you have to be brand new to the channel, as well as we are approaching 2,000 subscribers, so you want to join me on that journey, man, for sure. As we jump into the first game of this episode, we got a top 25 matchup in the Sun Belt Conference between Florida Atlantic and Mid-Tennessee State. Now, neither of these two teams, they started off ranked in the top 25, but after both been off to some really hot starts so far, they're both undefeated so far. They are out here and they are both competing for the opportunity to go to their first FCS playoff appearance. And right now, Florida Atlantic gonna have that early advantage as they are going to jump out to a 2-score lead here, as Thomas Cooks has been killing it already with 230 yards on the day. Florida Atlantic jumps out to a 20-0 lead here early. Maybe showing some cracks in Mid-Tennessee State. They haven't shown any weaknesses so far this season, but hey, maybe that's changing just a little bit here, as speaking of Thomas Cooks, he's going to go ahead. He is going to casually stride his way into the end zone. He is going to strut his stuff down the sideline. And I thought we're going to have to cut this recording off a little bit early. 27-0 lead. No way Mid-Tennessee State makes this anything resembling a game. But sure enough, the Blue Raiders, they are going to go ahead and fight back, as Kevin Hill, he's going to throw a quick screen out and it goes to perfection. So that's how the Blue Raiders finally get themselves on the board. A 27-7 game, as we get a ball nicely thrown down the sideline, and it's going to be a touchdown for the Blue Raiders, as Bush is able to get it out to his star receiver. That's his second touchdown of the day, and that makes it 27-14. But Florida Atlantic, they are going to get another touchdown on board with 3 minutes left to play in the ball game. And the number 20 team in America looking to pull the upset on the road. But check out this ensuing kickoff, though. Thomas Cook again. He is cooking down the sideline, making some men miss. Only one man left to beat. He can't bring him down, and as a foot race, he is going to win 9 times out of 10. But it won't be enough, though, as Florida Atlantic pulls the upset. They win by a final score of 34-21. So very good victory for this Florida Atlantic program, as they are seeking their first playoff appearance in this series. And they would, if they were in at large school, they would be on the bubble a little bit. So, you know, good to get this big win here. That will get them up to 6-0, while Mid-Tennessee State, meanwhile, they are going to lose their very first game of the season. They fall to 5-1. So we check in on a rivalry game matchup over on the West Coast, and we got the number 6 ranked Montana Grizzlies taking on a potential upstart here in the Pac-12 Conference, the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks. They come in 5-1. They were ranked at the top 25, but they did end up losing to Weber State, so they did end up being knocked out because of that. But Northern Arizona, they do have an opportunity, of course, to jump right back in to the AP Top 25 should they be able to take care of business against Montana. But that is easier said than done. Montana, defending conference champions, they made it all the way to the semifinals in the FCS playoffs. This is not going to be an easy game. Could be a lot of points on the scoreboard, as Northern Arizona, their defense is really suspect, and Derek Keefe is a very talented quarterback, able to thread the needle there. 27-yard pass early, and that sets the Montana Grizzlies up deep in the Lumberjack territory. as Keefe is actually going to try to scramble here, but looks like he gets a little bit caught up on a defensive lineman, and Jason Williams is going to be credited with the sack here. It's going to be only a loss of 3 though. But yeah, it looks like Derek Keefe got a little bit caught up there, but Northern Arizona, they're going to have to employ a bend, don't break mentality, because they have, like I said, very suspect defense. They give up nearly 400 yards a game, as Keefe going to roll to his right a little bit, gets it out to his tailback, and his tailback is going to make a huge gain, makes it 1st and goal, and that brother was wide butt naked open, as it now provides Montana a chance to get the first points on the board. Keefe in the shotgun on 3rd and goal, looks towards the end zone, and he finds Bryce Hall in the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Montana. And the Grizzlies will strike first, as Northern Arizona, they did end up sending the blitz, but it doesn't get home soon enough. In an early 7-0 game, and let me tell you what, Derek Keefe, he is absolutely feeling himself here early in this game. Not even done with the first quarter yet. He almost has 100 yards passing already. He's feeling himself, but it's not just the passing game. It's his running game that can get something going, as Montana, they win the battle in the trenches, and they are going to get yet another touchdown. Montana showing early why they're a top 10 squad, up 14-0. But that being said, Northern Arizona, they have their starting quarterback back in Michael Douglas, but he's going to throw an interception here late in the first quarter. They were already in a tough spot before the turnover, looking for the tailback Darrell White, but Michael Estes, he was simply all over that play. So Montana with a chance to be able to cash in, gets even more points on the board, and it's going to be cashed in. Touchdown, Montana. And the Grizzlies, now with a commanding lead here early in this ball game, they're up 21-0. But Derek Keefe gonna face a little bit of resistance here, as Northern Arizona are gonna be able to go ahead and snatch yet another sack here, and that's a huge loss that is going to back this team up significantly. We'll see how they respond here on 2nd and 17. Keefe in the shotgun, drops back. He's got plenty of time. He's going to throw this one down the sideline, and it's going to be caught again. Touchdown, Montana. 28-0. Derek Keefe, certified bad man. In Northern Arizona, they need their offense to come through quickly here. Can Darrell White provide the spark? He's down the sideline. He's going to be chopped down, but not before crossing midfield, as Darrell White, one of the more underrated tailbacks in this conference. He has almost 500 yards rushing on the year already. They're going to need more than that, because only 1 yard per play is not going to cut it against the number 6 team in America. As Douglas, he's going to have to run quickly down the sideline. He is able to go ahead and get that pass off. Absolutely incredible pocket presence by Michael Douglas, not only to avoid the pressure, but also to slide around, keep eyes upfield, and produce a very good play. Sets up a red zone opportunity for the Lumberjacks. Can Douglas cash him in? Throwing towards the end zone. He's got a man wide but naked open. It's a touchdown for the Lumberjacks, and they finally get themselves on the scoreboard, showing a little glimpse of why they were previously rated within the top 25. As now we'll go ahead and see Montana go to work here, but hang on now. This defense is actually going to go ahead and make a play here. Okay, maybe we got a little bit of a ball game here, forcing Derek Keefe, who has played really well the last couple of weeks going into this game. He throws his first interception in 3 games, but Northern Arizona, they cannot cash in on the very next possession. Derek Keefe is going to rebound in a big way, getting a 74-yard touchdown. And Montana, 35-7 here in Flagstaff, Arizona, really taking it right to their rivals so far. As we still have a minute left to play here in this first half, as Douglas trying to lead the comeback charge, trying to throw it down the sideline, and it's a perfect throw. It's going to actually be caught. And that will get the Lumberjacks in the red zone here. Just a beautiful dot that will set up the second red zone opportunity for the Lumberjacks. Douglas, play action, facing pressure. But Montana's gamble is not going to work out as Douglas able to throw a strike in the end zone. He had two guys open there. It was just his personal preference. So back down to a 21-point game. Can Northern Arizona take some momentum into halftime? But Pedro Alexander, the true freshman custom, is going to have something to say about that. Nice out and in. You love to see that kind of route work, especially from a true freshman. And another red zone opportunity for Montana, which still cash in. And Montana is going to score 42 points here in the first half. Just an incredible offensive display for this Montana squad. Is now they are still with that commanding lead, 28-point lead. And listen, this defense was suspect. This was not a very good defense, and they are certainly being exploited right now. Not that Northern Arizona is playing terrible on the offensive end. I mean, scoring 14 against Montana. They have a good defense. You know, that's to be expected, right? But they're just not keeping up whatsoever. And that's going to continue to be the case as yet another touchdown is going to be scored for the Grizzlies. It makes it 49-14. There was some people that thought maybe Northern Arizona could challenge this Montana squad, but that's not happening. That is not happening at all in this game, as Keith is going to go ahead, go for the 50 burger, and sure enough, he is going to be able to nail that. It is just simply barbecue chicken as Montana is going to march on. They win convincingly in this one, 66-21. What a game for Derek Keefe. But we now get to see a little bit of respect for one of these teams in the Northeast, as UMass, for the very first time in this series, they get ranked in the top 25. Now, they did have a pretty solid season. Number one, they ended up with a 8-3, 8-4 record overall. Narrowly missed the playoffs. They're 5-1 here, and they just now are getting ranked. But they will have to go up against their rivals, the Rhode Island Rams. And, going to be interesting to see how this game plays out. Rhode Island is an option team. So if Rhode Island does get an early lead, maybe they can win that time of possession battle and pull the upset. But, I mean, not very likely, though, because Rhode Island is ranked outside of the top 100, right, out of 119 teams. So this is not a very talented football team by any stretch of the imagination, and UMass showing why they deserve to be ranked this entire season as they go ahead. First drive of the game, they are going to go ahead and march themselves right down the field, as we'll see UMass find the end zone first. Touchdown for the Minutemen, and the number 23 team in America. Loving that they are on TV right now, and they are playing hot to start this game. Can the defense step up, though? This defense is pretty good. That is their strength of this football team. But on the special teams, seeing something that we usually don't see from UMass. They not only give up a big play, but they give off a kick return for a touchdown. You just cannot have that, as Javaris Franklin is going to take it 98 yards to the crib. And it's just back to being all knotted up here again, as UMass cannot score on their next possession. So the Rhode Island offense is going to see the field for the very first time today, as we'll go ahead and see this option attack. The fullback getting involved. He's wide, butt naked open, doesn't even get touched, and he is going to be gone like a girl in a country song, as that is the fullback, you guys, that had a 59-yard touchdown run. You cannot be serious right now. Rhode Island's going to take the early lead, as now we'll see UMass go to work here. Free wide set, trips to the right, as it's going to be fumbled, and it's going to be recovered by Rhode Island. You never know what could happen in these rivalry games, and we are certainly seeing that right now as that fumble sets Rhode Island up beautifully, and that's perfect for their option attack as they will fake it to the fullback, and the quarterback is just going to run this thing into the end zone, and suddenly we're here at home. Rhode Island's got a 2-score lead. Might be time to go ahead and get those upset alert bells, get them ringing, and get them ringing loud and clear as we get into the end of this first quarter. UMass still doesn't score, by the way. They actually pass the ball. Now that is interesting because for Rhode Island, the pass play is almost considered as a trick play at sometimes, and that's going to be yet another touchdown. Rhode Island up 28-7 after the first quarter. We'll see if they can keep it up, but they are not letting it leave their grasp anytime soon as they score yet another touchdown. 35-7. I am just absolutely speechless. UMass has a really strong defense. They only gave up 17 against Tennessee Martin, and Martin hasn't been as good as what they were projected to be, but they were still better than this Rhode Island squad. And Rhode Island just surprising so many people around the country right now. It's absolutely insane. We'll see if UMass can actually get a stop here before the end of the half as we get a pitch out to the tailback, and the tailback is going to run it into the end zone. It's yet another touchdown for the Rams. 42-7. Wow. 42-7. That is the score right now. Absolutely insane. And UMass, if they want to remain ranked in the top 25, they need to get going. And they need to get going yesterday. They're now by 35 points. We'll see if they can pull the unthinkable. It would be the biggest comeback in the history of this series if they can close this deficit. This will help. A 98-yard kick return for a touchdown, and makes it a 28-point game going into the half. As now, later on in the third quarter, UMass's third possession. Quarterback going to drop back the pass. He's going to look over the right hand side. It does end up being caught as Grant Brown is starting to find his rhythm here in the second half. It's his third straight completion as we'll see him go play action again, looking for completion number 5 in a row, and he's going to get it to a wide, butt naked open receiver downfield, and it's going to be a 52-yard touchdown. UMass closing in just a tad bit. This third touchdown will make it 45-21. It's now a 24-point game, but they got to find a way to stop this option attack because right now they are really struggling with it, as that should have been at least a much smaller gain. It didn't happen, able to get that pitch through. I don't know how. Personally, there was quite a bit of traffic going on. As now UMass with another red zone opportunity. They got a pass on 3rd and 16, but it's going to be picked off. It is going to be brought all the way. Somebody call the house because we got ourselves a house call. William Pittman with his second career interception is going to cut this thing down to a 16-point game after a successful 2-point conversion. And we got a little bit of a game here, but on the very next possession, feeling the game slip away a little bit, they go deep down the left-hand side. Is the one-on-one matchup won by the offense, and Rhode Island is going to put up a 50-burger in this game. I never thought this was happening. This was outside of the realm of possibility for me personally, and the fact that Rhode Island has done it and done it with a whole quarter left to play is absolutely surprising. You want to talk about disappointment? UMass defense has got to have it here for week number 8. And they still have a chance to win this game. It's a long shot, 3 scores. Gonna have to play perfect here in this fourth quarter, but this will certainly help them. They do go ahead. They get the touchdown. It puts UMass down by, looks like 17 at this point. They're gonna opt to go for the 2-point conversion. However, that does fail, so it makes it a 3-possession game still. And they're just not getting the stops that they need. Just you want to talk about what is actually what is actually going on? I don't even know what to say at this point. UMass is on the verge of giving up a 60 burger. Like, let that sink in for a second. A 60 burger against a team ranked outside of the top 100 has to be the biggest embarrassment for this UMass program. And we're seeing it in person. We are seeing it in gameplay. It would be one thing if it would be happening like in the sim. We're seeing it in gameplay right now. But Rhode Island, give them credit. They're playing their hearts out right now. They're going to pull off one of the biggest upsets in this, season number 2. As UMass, they're going to fumble the football here on the very next series. And now, they were in trouble before. They are in some really deep trouble now, as Rhode Island are going to be able to cash in, sort of. They're going to get a field goal here. So they will indeed get that 60 burger. It makes it 62-35. As now, kick return from the Minutemen. They need a spark again. This might be it right here. Going down the sideline. He's going to be gone like a girl in a country song. Touchdown, Minutemen. Bold thing to celebrate when you're down as much as you are, but really nice play, though. It cuts it down to 20, as the UMass will go ahead and get the ball with a minute and a half left to play. They're going to need some quick scores, and they're also going to need some onside kicks. This will help, as it's a double team, but it can't hold him. It's going to be a touchdown for the Minutemen, and it's just down to a 2-possession game. If they can get some onside kicks, watch out. Maybe things can get a little bit interesting, but that is simply not what happens here, as Rhode Island is going to pull off a stunning upset. They are going to win by the final score of 62-49. Definitely the highest scoring game that we have seen in the history of this series, as UMass definitely will be falling out of the top 25 after losing on the road to the rival Rams. Congratulations to Rhode Island on a signature win. So we'll see if the upset trend will continue, or will we see a little return to normalcy, as Eastern Kentucky is going to go on the road to play against this Southeast Missouri State squad. And listen, Southeast Missouri State, they are one of those teams that could play with anybody. They beat Montana. It's a signature win for them, but then they turn around and lose to Murray State, who to this point not projected to make the playoffs yet again, as they will go up against probably one of the most improved teams, at least in this conference, Eastern Kentucky. They only won 4 games last year. They're already 4-1 now, and they are deep in the hunt to win the Big Ten Conference Championship and get their first playoff appearance. But we'll see if Eastern Kentucky can also pull this upset. Early on, they're going to set the tone by going for it here on 4th down to rely on Ryan Perkins. No, it's actually a play action here, and it's actually going to be completed for a significant chunk of yards, as Eric McFarland is going to nearly get it into the end zone. He was just a few yards shy there. It sets up Ryan Perkins, who has had really a breakout season for the Colonels. And Eastern Kentucky is going to go ahead and strike first. They will go ahead and take a 7-0 lead here early, as Southeast Missouri State, they're going to have to punt this football away. Fair catch, but it ends up being muffed here, and it's going to end up falling in the hands of the Red Hawks. Sets up a chance to get into the end zone, and Scott Parrish is going to cash in for the Red Hawks. Southeast Missouri State does go ahead and knot it up, all tied at 7 apiece, as we got a back and forth game early between these two red-blooded schools, as now they're going to kick it off back to Eastern Kentucky. Got some space down the sideline. One man, what to beat? Oh, is he going to win the foot race? Looks like he will, and it's going to be a touchdown for Eastern Kentucky, as the Colonels get a 98-yard kick return for a touchdown. And oh boy, I didn't realize we might be in a Drake song, because you already know if I'm showing special teams, something is about to go down. Something magical is about to happen. Is Southeast Missouri State, are they going to respond? Yes, they will. Touchdown, Redhawks, and he is gone. And that will tie this thing up at 14 apiece. We have yet another shootout on our hands here. But that doesn't mean the defense is completely absent, as Eastern Kentucky, they are going to get this fumble. And let's go, baby, Eastern Kentucky. That is Robert Owens, who was featured in the preview for this matchup. He's a freshman. He was just at prom a few months ago and now making plays in college football, as Chad James is going to throw a strike into the end zone. Touchdown, Colonels. And Eastern Kentucky takes a 21-14 lead. An exciting one here. We might be in for an absolute classic, as later on in the second quarter, Jared Leslie set to go ahead and punt this thing away. Already seen his special teams get a fumble recovery on one of his punts. We'll see if he can get some luck here a second time, but might be trouble as Ryan Perkins gets loose and he's going to dive into the end zone. Touchdown, Eastern Kentucky. And the Colonels take the lead here. That now makes it a 2-possession game. Eastern Kentucky showing maybe they should have been ranked. Could be a possibility, but Perkins is also going to be stood up here as the Southeast Missouri State defense starting to wake up a little bit. Can they get a stop on defense? 1st and 10 from the 48. James trying to throw it over the middle, and it's going to be picked off. Southeast Missouri State with a chance to come in here and get right back into this ball game. We got an exciting one on our hands for sure, as it now sets up the opportunity for the Redhawks. This was much needed, as Eastern Kentucky, they had 13 unanswered points in this game, but unfortunately Southeast Missouri State, they can't respond. So minute left to play here. Ryan Perkins is actually going to run the football. He's going to plow his way through a safety, and that is a beautiful way to end the run. Breaks the tackle there, gets into open space, and runs through another defender. He is really doing his best to wear down this defense, as now Perkins is going to get rewarded for the great run earlier, and he's going to run it in the end zone. Touchdown, Eastern Kentucky. You want to talk about a statement game? I think we're certainly starting to get one here right in front of our eyes. Let's go. You love to see it. Is now Chad James is going to throw downfield. He's going to find his tight end, double coverage, but it's not going to matter though, as Chad James has been an excellent compliment for Ryan Perkins. Speaking of Perkins, we'll see if they go to him again here. No, he's actually going to be blocking instead as Chad James. He does break the one tackle, but Justin Jones is going to eventually blow him up in the backfield. He gets his first sack of the day, as Justin Jones, was just eyeing the quarterback, kind of in that spy, and then when he saw he was going outside the pocket, he pounced like a tiger. It's now 3rd and long for the Colonels, as James goes ahead and gets set under center. Looks like they're in the Ace Maryland formation. James dropping back. He's going to throw this thing downfield. All or nothing, and it's going to be caught. It's going to be caught as Chad James delivers another fantastic football, and it sets up the 4th red zone opportunity for Eastern Kentucky. Can they go 4 for 4 like a Wendy's dollar value menu? James under center, hands it off to Perkins in the end zone. Touchdown, Eastern Kentucky, and it's another score for the Colonels as they take a 41-14 lead. Just been absolutely silent so far, as Southeast Missouri State just not playing. They're playing a complete game, a completely terrible game, as Perkins gets loose again. He's gonna stunt on the special teams, boys, as Ryan Perkins now has 5 total touchdowns to his name. He is outscoring Southeast Missouri State all by himself, and doing so convincingly. So a 48-14 lead here, as Southeast Missouri State, they desperately need a spark. They need it in the worst way, as we're going to see one here. Special teams touchdown number 2 for the Redhawks. And that'll help close this game down a little bit late in the third quarter. 48-21. As now we jump into the fourth quarter of play. Eastern Kentucky looking for yet another first down. They're going to get it, and they were so close to getting yet another touchdown on the board. They was right there. And they have a chance here to get the 50 burger. Now, their fifth red zone opportunity. Do they go back to Ryan Perkins? Or is it a Chad James? No, it's Perkins looking for touchdown number 6, and he's going to get it. Touchdown, Eastern Kentucky. And that will officially give the Colonels a 50 burger on the day, as Eastern Kentucky is going to win this one 55-35. We'll see if this gets Eastern Kentucky ranked for the very first time. But we do also have a healthy dose of top 25 matchups as we keep it in the Midwest. We got number 24 ranked Central Michigan going on the road to take on the Bobcats of Ohio, who come in ranked number 18 in the nation, as we are seeing both teams go ahead and take the field now. And it's going to come down to really this Ohio defense. They have been really good over the course of this season, led by their freshman outside linebacker. I mean, he's got the orange visor, man. He looks like a menace to society. We'll jump into this game now. First quarter, Graves in the shotgun formation. He's going to drop back to pass here. He's got some time to throw this thing to the end zone, and it's going to be caught. Touchdown, Ohio. And the Bobcats are going to take an early 7-0 lead here. And it remains 7-0 all the way until the second half, when Central Michigan finally goes ahead and they get themselves on the board as well. So it took them long enough, but Central Michigan, they played significantly better offensively in the second half than they did in the first. And they will go ahead and seal this game with a last-second field goal that makes it basically out of reach. Ohio cannot march down the field in a few seconds, and Central Michigan is going to be the team that remains in the top 25. We'll see what happens to Ohio. They usually don't take too kindly for teams that, don't make it in, or at least that are in the top 25, but are, now at 500 this late in the season, as Ohio, they will fall to 3-3 on the year, while Central Michigan, they will continue what's been a nice season for them. They're now 4-2 on the year. But now we'll go ahead and sling it down to the Bayou, as we got a top 15 matchup. Not only do we have a top 15 matchup on our hands, but we also have the game of the week down here in the Louisiana Superdome, as number 7 UCF goes on the road to take on the 15th ranked Tulane Green Wave. And UCF, they have been undefeated despite their backup quarterback Charles Dodd playing for the majority of the season so far. Charles Dodd has really stepped up. The starting quarterback got hurt in that Georgia Southern game back in week number 2, as early on, it's not going to be Charles Dodd that's going to be getting in the end zone, but it's going to be Zach Slanes getting in the end zone for the Golden Knights, as that will help UCF take an early 7-3 lead in what would now be considered an American Conference matchup here in the modern day college football, but back then it was just a Conference USA game. Both teams have improved their conference positioning significantly over the last couple of decades. UCF particularly, man, they're going to be in the Big 12. They're going to be a Power 5 team. Imagine that. That is absolutely, incredible. A great rise for that program. And, in Central Florida, they can do some damage. They got a nice recruiting base in Orlando for sure. As UCF with a 14-3 lead here, as Mr. Carter going to try to ask where he has been, going to try to throw it to the left-hand side, but it's going to be intercepted. And not only is it going to be intercepted, but it's also going to go ahead and go for a touchdown as well, as UCF is going to slam the door on any hopes of a late comeback in this ball game. And the Golden Knights are going to win this one by a final score of 21-3. UCF continuing what has been an incredible season for them. Not only are they in the position to go ahead and win their or at least go to their very first FCS playoffs here in this series, but they might be able to do it while getting a first round bye and getting automatically into the second round of the FCS playoffs here. And so UCF, they're going to win this game, like I said, 21-3, doing so by forcing 5 turnovers as well. But now we check in on another team that is in the hunt to get a first round bye. It's North Dakota State in conference play, but taking on the Montana State Bobcats, who also are undefeated here in conference play. So, Montana State, of course, they do not have the same kind of talent that North Dakota State has, but Montana State could go ahead and provide some potential challenges going forward, as we'll see both teams go ahead and take the field here. But Montana State, they're going to have to bring their A game if they have any chance of winning this game, as defensively, North Dakota State, they are led by Ryan Wilcox, the senior redshirt, who is the defensive captain. He is the heart and soul of that defense. But before we worry about any of that, we'll see this offense take the field, as AJ Ferguson, he is actually going to do an option pass here and is going to get a big play downfield early. Looks like Oliver, the tight end, gets a huge play for the Bison. As North Dakota State, they like to pound the rock, and they are pounding that rock extremely well, as Anderson is going to find the end zone. The true freshman is going to get a 37-yard touchdown here, and that is despite the fact that Montana State, they did a good job sealing the edge. They just could not make a play on the football. And North Dakota State takes an early 10-0 lead here, as it goes from bad to worse for the Bobcats, as North Dakota State is able to go ahead and get an interception. Lonnie Rushing with his second pick of the season, and he is going to go ahead and take it back to the crib, making it 17-0 for the Bison. They are dominating early, as now Montana State trying to get a big play downfield, looking for the answer. And that is not what they're looking for, as Maurice Billings throws his second interception. He has more interceptions than he does completions so far. He still has not completed a single pass that has gone to a Montana State guy. He's completed 2 passes for North Dakota State guys, but not for Montana State though, as the starter is getting rattled early. But North Dakota State can't score following that turnover, as it's just a rough day for Maurice Billings. And not only that, this could be pick 6 here, as this ball is going to go to the 15, the 5, touchdown, North Dakota. And how about that running action after the interception? Usually those linebackers don't have that type of awareness to eke out an interception, or at least a return to the crib like that. I mean, you don't see guys, cutting it back in very often. Most people would have just went out of bounds after that, but North Dakota State, they're now up 24-0, and they could put a dagger in early, except they forgot about the football. AJ Ferguson is going to put the ball on the ground here, and Montana State is going to be able to recover. So they're still down by 24, but they are playing better. They got to get points on the board though. Colin Russell comes into the game here. He did end up subbing in for Maurice Billings, who did end up getting injured with a concussion, so we won't see him for the rest of the game. Meanwhile, 1st and 10 from the 47. Montana State trying to get some points on the board for the first time, and gets it out to a receiver who does end up making the catch. But of course, it does end up getting fumbled. It's recovered by the Bison, and North Dakota State's defense, they get their 4th turnover here of the day, as it's Leo Rushing who forced that fumble yet again. as now North Dakota State has a chance to maybe add on to this lead, and it just continues to grow for the turnovers. Another turnover here. AJ Ferguson putting it on the ground once again, getting a little bit sloppy here now that the Bison have built up a sizable lead. I'm sure the coaching staff is not going to be happy about that, as Montana State, they got a chance. They got a chance to actually put points on the board, as Irvin Russell, actually, at least in this game, he's doing better than the starting quarterback. And Montana State could actually score here, except Irvin Russell fumbles the football, and North Dakota State is going to recover that as well, as looks who it is. It's rushing the quarterback and forcing that fumble. That has to be the third turnover that he's either directly attained or at least like assisted on. He's been absolutely incredible. As Ferguson, he fumbles the ball. I didn't realize both teams here got some butterfingers here in the second half, as we have seen an insane amount of turnovers really by both teams here in this second half. It's been really interesting to see as Montana State tries to rally back, tries to get back in this game, but it gets intercepted yet again. Another turnover. That's the 6th turnover for the Montana State Bobcats, and they are just not giving themselves any opportunities to beat this team. They're right there. They're not exactly getting blown out, but all of these turnovers are really not helping this Montana State football team, as Russell, he's going to drop back the pass once again. Is this going to be a turnover number 7? It is the 7th turnover for Montana State today. You cannot make this up. The fact that this is not a complete blowout is completely bonkers to me, but they finally do extend this lead out to 30 points, and it ends up being like a 31-0 game, but you know, you can't help but be a little bit disappointed in North Dakota State, given you get all these turnovers. You don't even win by 30 points though against a team that you're heavily favored against. Might have a little bit cause for concern, but I'm sure they're going to be happy with the win. They will remain undefeated in conference play, while Montana State, they are going to lose their first game of the season. So all across America, we have seen plenty of surprises, and that is not limited to the gameplay as we check out some of the scores around the country. First and foremost, starting with our custom coaches from year 1, we got James Madison going on the road to play against Howard and winning 31-22. The Dukes improving to 5-1, while Howard, they are still searching for that first win of the year as they fall to 0-6. As for the Rice Owls, they take care of business against Morgan State. Not a dominating victory by any means, but winning by a score of 24-0. As for UNLV, they end up doing the same thing against their conference opponent, South Dakota State, winning by a final score of 35-7. The Jackrabbits fall to 1-6. FIU, on the other hand, might be in danger of falling out of the top 25 as they take a devastating road loss to North Texas, who loses this game 42-24. FIU shouldn't be in this top 25. Ball State, on the other hand, did not have the same issue though, as they beat the Leatherbacks of Western Illinois on the road, winning 45-14, remaining undefeated on the season. Akron also rebounding from their first loss of the year that they took back in week number 7, beating the Sycamores of Indiana State 52-21 in this one. Now, South Carolina State was ranked in the top 25, but after losing to Delaware, that was no longer the case. They took that anger out on Bethune-Cookman, who wins this game 57-0. The Bulldogs should find themselves back in the top 25 after this impressive performance. Speaking of impressive performances, we got San Diego State proving why they're the #1 team in the country, taking care of business against conference opponent Omaha, 49-7 being the final score as they now improve to 7-0 on the season. Buffalo also doing the same thing as they remain undefeated as well, taking care of business against a winless Illinois State squad, winning 27-9 in what was a more defensive affair. East Carolina also bouncing back from their first loss of the year to SMU, taking their anger out on the Richmond Spiders, winning 42-16. Utah State also making sure that they stay in the hunt for that WAC Conference Championship trophy as they beat Stephen F. Austin 31-14 on the road and improving to 6-1. Speaking of that WAC Conference, San Jose State making a case to be in that top 25 as they are now 5-2, beating Oral Roberts on the road by a final score of 44-7. An impressive performance for the Spartans. Speaking of impressive performances, Kent State, the defending national champions, continue their path to defend the title as they beat Western Michigan in conference play 28-19, improving to 5-1. Eastern Michigan also doing the same thing as the national runners-up from Season 1, beating Southern Illinois 38-0, proving why they're a top 10 team as of right now. SMU also building off the momentum of beating the former #1 team in the country, going ahead and not falling into that trap game mentality, beating Villanova 52-13 on their home turf. But for the final game of this episode, we check in on the #2 team in all of college football, the New Hampshire Wildcats, going on the road to take on conference opponent Florida A&M, and they are filled with custom recruits. Guys like Clay Davis, Double K Williams, Benito Zimmerman, just to name a few. Definitely some good talent on this roster, but for the future, but right now, it is New Hampshire's world in the ACC, and we are just simply existing in it. As we'll go ahead and jump right into the action here. Start of the first quarter, as this ball is going to be kicked away right to the senior Bobby Young, who's going to take it down the sideline, and he's going to be gone. Touchdown, New Hampshire. And quickly, we are seeing why this team is ranked #2 in the entire country. As you want to talk about a Drake song, we might be going back to back. As we're going to see this ball kicked away once again, as we see Bobby Young take it down the side. One man left to beat. He can't catch him, and he's going to be gone. Another touchdown for Bobby Young. Make that 2 for the senior wide receiver. And it's 14-3 before we even see this offense take the field, and this offense is still pretty darn good. Pretty sure I just saw the ref being used as a blocker, which is pretty ingenious. I mean, you're not gonna be like a 250 pound guy run over the poor referee, you know, nothing like that. And sure, yeah, the ref was literally used as a blocker. That's hilarious, bro. As if Florida A&M didn't have any other problems. So they find themselves down 21-3 already, as Charles Montoya, he is going to be lit up like a Christmas tree in the backfield there, as he's going to take a big time sack. Didn't come from the blind side though, as Montoya will drop back to pass once again. This time he does have time to throw the football, and he finds Bobby Young in the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Wildcats. And New Hampshire not wasting any time in this game. They are going to go ahead and take a 28-3 lead here as they continue to build what's been an impressive lead. We'll see if Florida A&M can get themselves going though, as Benito Zimmerman in the backfield. We'll see if they throw his way, but they go the opposite direction. But still completed though. As Florida A&M, they actually do have more first downs than New Hampshire. They just don't have those big-time plays. As Kevin Sutton trying to get his guys downfield. He's been struggling this year. 6 touchdowns, first 7 interceptions. And he's going to get it off to Benito Zimmerman, who puts the ball on the ground. And it's going to be a turnover. New Hampshire going to get their hands on the football once again, but they can't cash in on the turnover. But neither can Florida A&M. They go 3 and out on their next possession. So they punt it back to Bobby Young, who's already got 2 touchdowns. And we might as well go ahead and call it a hat trick, doing some hurdling drills as well. Make that touchdown number 3 for the Wildcats. Make that 35-3 as Bobby Young continues to really pounce on the poor special teams work from Florida A&M, as they's gonna now get 4 touchdowns. When are they gonna learn? Don't punt to this guy. He's a weapon for a reason. It's 42-3 here, and you're just hoping that Florida A&M, they can get something on the board, at least something to feel good about. Maybe Benito Cimarron can change that, or he'll go ahead and put the ball on the ground as well. Just an outright disrespectful day for Florida A&M as they get blown out in their own stadium. They do lose this game 45-20, as Florida A&M does end up with 17 garbage time points. So we now are closing in on really the closing stages of the regular season. We're more than halfway, and we're starting to see that playoff picture become more clear. But we had a lot of action in that top 25, so we got to go ahead and see what is that top 25 poll looking like. Well, at the top, it does seem like things are holding up pretty well overall, as the top 5 remains exactly the same. North Dakota State, they're number 3 in the country still. James Madison, they remain at number 5. We do also see UCF and Montana switch places, but really not too much movement here in the top 10. I think there might have been only one top 10 team ultimately move out. I can't remember which team it is off the top of my head, but it's Mid-Tennessee State. They fall to number 18 in the country. That is after a 13-point loss to Florida Atlantic, who FAU, they get to move up 4 spots because of that victory. Meanwhile, Central Michigan, they remain in the top 25. Georgia Southern moves up to number 20, even though they did not even get the opportunity to play in the previous episode. They were on a bye week. But a bunch of new teams in the top 25. We got South Carolina State sitting in at number 22 in the country. Temple is now in the top 25 once again. Idaho is back in the top 25. And then making their first appearance in this series, we got Northwestern State, 5-1 with a 3-0 conference record. They are the final top 25 team, and this is their first appearance in the polls. But there's a bunch of teams, coming in from behind. Eastern Kentucky is right in there after their win against Southeast Missouri State. Texas Southern looks really good. Tennessee State, they finally get themselves back into at least receiving votes after an embarrassing loss to Indiana State back in week number 2. Then, of course, rounding out that group is Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Tennessee Tech that are looking for a chance to move into that top 25. As for the Heisman race, though, the Heisman race seems like it's turned more clear-cut by the day, as we see Andy Mosley still sitting on top now with 30 touchdown passes on the year. Really a historic year for him, and that is, also because he has a fantastic wide receiver, Brian Pruitt, sophomore wide receiver, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's got 12 of those 30 passing touchdowns from his quarterback, so they're the 1-2 punch. But there's some movement with 3 guys trending upward, though. Bobby Young just hit over 1,000 all-purpose yards on the year. He has 12 total touchdowns on the season. The senior wideout from New Hampshire now moves up to 3rd place. As for Marty Suber, the true freshman out here, man. 1,500 all-purpose yards, 12 total touchdowns. He helped in that 30-point win over Indiana State. He's now in 4th. But probably the biggest shock here, junior tailback Ryan Perkins, 1,300 all-purpose yards, 16 touchdowns. He is now in that Heisman Trophy conversation and having a really great season. He had a solid year in year number 1, but he is, really taking that to a new level. 114 carries, 533 yards, 10 rushing touchdowns already. He's found the end zone as many times as he did back in year number 1. And Ryan Perkins is a huge reason why Eastern Kentucky is having a resurgent season. But to wrap up week number 8, we gotta talk about the NCAA Players of the Week, and they both come from top 5 programs. On the offensive side of the ball, of course, Bobby Young, who was an electric return man in their road victory against Florida A&M. He ends up with over 300 all-purpose yards, 5 total touchdowns. He alone outscores the Rattlers in their 25-point victory on the road. As for North Dakota State, they had the Defensive Player of the Week for the NCAA, the senior redshirt Leon Rushing. He's a DB, man, and he showed out for sure. In their 31-7 win against Montana State, he ends up being all over the field. 9 tackles, 2 TFLs, 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, a touchdown, and we'll just sprinkle in a sack in there as well. Going over the top, Leon Rushing was an absolute weapon for the Bison defense. So week 8 action is now officially completed, and now this second half of the season is going to be heating up. Next episode, we will have week number 9 action, as we are going to check out some teams that are on the doorstep of getting into that AP Top 25, maybe some potential sleepers to make it into the FCS playoffs when the dust finally completely settles. But guys, I will go ahead and leave that for the next episode. I hope you enjoyed today's content. If you did, make sure you go ahead and smack that like button. Hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel. This is John J Gaming on the mic signing off. I'm hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.